the return of rational investing. In Buffett's view, the next era will reward those who can think like business owners rather than traders. The rise of algorithmic trading, social media-driven investing, and get-rich-quick attitudes have created waves of instability. Buffett's quiet confidence stands as a counterforce. He once said, "To invest successfully over a lifetime does not require a stratospheric IQ, unusual business insights, or inside information. What's needed is a sound intellectual framework and the ability to keep emotions from corroding that framework." As inflation, global tensions, and market corrections create fear, Buffett predicts a return to rational investing, where logic, patience, and value once again drive success. 2026 will separate the investors who understand businesses from those who only understand trends. The quiet wealth builders. Another part of Buffett's 2026 prediction centers on what he calls quiet compounding. He believes that true wealth will shift toward those who invest steadily, consistently, and intelligently. Not the loudest traders online, but the quiet builders. These are the people who automatically invest in index funds, reinvest dividends, and focus on building wealth year after year, regardless of headlines. In his words, someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. 2026 will reveal who's been planting and who's just been talking. Those who focused on long-term seeds, stable businesses, diversified portfolios, consistent savings, will begin to see their financial shade growing wider, even as others scramble for short-term relief. Buffett's warning on debt and over-leverage. Buffett has repeatedly cautioned against the one thing that destroys investors in every cycle: leverage. Debt magnifies gains, yes, but it also magnifies pain. In 2026, as interest rates continue to fluctuate and economic pressures remain unpredictable, Buffett's rule becomes more important than ever. If you're smart, you don't need it, and if you're dumb, you shouldn't be using it. He's seen it all, from the savings and loan crisis to the dot-com bubble, from the 2008 meltdown to the crypto crashes. The same pattern repeats. Greed blinds judgment, and leverage accelerates collapse. Buffett's bold message for 2026 is clear: play defense before you play offense. Before trying to double your returns, eliminate your debts. Before chasing opportunity, build stability. Wealth doesn't come from risk, it comes from surviving when others fall. Buffett's hidden optimism about America's future. Despite his caution, Buffett remains one of the most optimistic voices about the future, especially about America's economic resilience. He calls the U.S. economy a miracle, built on innovation, adaptability, and human drive. Even when times look uncertain, Buffett reminds us that every generation has faced fear, and yet the market always recovers. Never bet against America, he says, and in 2026, that belief will once again prove true. He predicts new leaders will emerge in healthcare, clean energy, and infrastructure, industries built not on hype but on necessity. These are the spaces where real, lasting wealth will grow. Buffett's optimism isn't naive, it's historical. He's seen markets fall and rise, economies break and rebuild. And through it all, one truth remains: those who stay invested in progress always win in the end. How you can think like Buffett in 2026. Buffett's mindset can be summarized in one word: clarity. He doesn't follow the crowd, he studies the crowd, then makes his own decision. He doesn't fear downturns, he welcomes them as opportunities. He doesn't chase speed, he embraces consistency. To think like Buffett in 2026, you don't need millions, you just need a plan. Invest in what you understand. Keep cash ready for opportunity. Focus on long-term businesses, not daily prices. Ignore panic, stay steady, and keep learning. Because here's the truth: Buffett's bold prediction for 2026 isn't just about markets. It's about mindset. The world will continue to change faster than ever, but the principles of patience, value, and discipline will remain unshakable. Those who follow them will rise, while others burn out chasing the next big thing. The legacy of wisdom over hype. As we near 2026, the investing world will likely face what Buffett calls a reality correction. The market will reward substance over style, fundamentals over flash, patience over panic. Buffett's life and success stand as a timeless reminder. You don't need to be first, you just need to last. Every generation rediscovers this truth the hard way. But those who listen, those who prepare, those who quietly follow the wisdom of compound growth, they're the ones who win not just in one year, but for life. So when Buffett says 2026 will shock investors, it's not a doomsday warning. It's an awakening. The shock will come to those who built on hype. The reward will come to those who built on truth. The quiet power of preparation. Warren Buffett's prediction for 2026 isn't about chaos, it's about correction. It's not about panic, it's about preparation. The truth is, most investors lose not because they lack intelligence, but because they lack emotional discipline. Buffett often says, the stock market is designed to transfer money from the active to the patient. He's not talking about inaction, he's talking about strategy. The people who win in the next cycle won't be the ones constantly reacting. They'll be the ones who built strong foundations, waited for the right moments, and acted with confidence while others froze in fear. As 2026 approaches, Buffett's bold prediction becomes less about market timing and more about personal readiness. He's teaching us how to position ourselves, mentally, financially, and strategically, for the opportunities that always come after uncertainty. The emotional side of wealth. Money doesn't just test your math skills, it tests your mindset. Buffett learned long ago that markets move not by numbers, but by emotion. Fear drives selling, greed drives buying, but wisdom drives wealth. He often jokes that investing is like baseball, except you don't have to swing at every pitch. Most investors swing too often, trying to time the perfect moment. Buffett stands at the plate, watching, waiting, until the perfect pitch comes, and when it does, he swings with full conviction. That patience is what he believes will be the greatest advantage in 2026. While others chase trends or run from volatility, Buffett reminds us that doing nothing at the right time is sometimes the smartest move you can make. Why Buffett never bets on panic. Every time markets crash, Buffett does something shocking. He buys. When everyone else is running for the exits, he walks in with confidence and cash. He once said, "Be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful." That's not just a clever quote, it's the single sentence that defines his success. In 2026, Buffett expects fear to rise again, maybe because of geopolitical tension, maybe due to inflation, or maybe because technology will disrupt industries faster than people can adapt. But for him, fear is simply a signal that opportunity is returning. He doesn't see panic as danger, he sees it as a discount. The world may see risk, Buffett sees value. What Buffett's silence really means. If you notice, Buffett rarely gives exact predictions. He doesn't tell people when to buy or sell. He speaks in principles, not prophecies. That's intentional, because true investing isn't about guessing the future, it's about preparing for it. When Buffett warns about overvaluation or hoards cash, he's not trying to scare the market. He's quietly positioning himself. And that's the heart of his 2026 prediction, position over prediction. He knows the market will eventually rotate back to reason. When that happens, those who stayed focused on quality, on businesses that produce real goods, deliver real services, and make real profits, will find themselves ahead, even if they moved slower. Buffett's silence is a signal to think longer, dig deeper, and prepare smarter. the rebirth of value in 2026. Buffett has seen cycles repeat for nearly 80 years. And every time speculation peaks, whether in the dot-com bubble, housing bubble, or crypto craze, the pattern ends the same way. The market resets and value returns. He believes 2026 will be another one of those resets. But instead of fearing it, Buffett sees it as a rebirth of intelligent investing. Value investing, once dismissed as boring, will once again dominate. Investors will rediscover the power of dividends, the strength of fundamentals, and the peace of long-term growth. And while others chase headlines, those who followed Buffett's timeless rules will quietly watch their portfolios grow, not overnight, but over time. Because real wealth isn't about sudden windfalls. It's about steady progress that compounds quietly in the background while you live your life. Buffett's final message for the next generation. Warren Buffett knows he won't be around forever, but his philosophy, his calm, his logic, his discipline will outlive him. He said it many times, "I want to leave behind a system that works even when I'm gone." And that system is simple. Spend less than you earn. Invest what you save. Never borrow to invest. Let compounding do the heavy lifting. 2026 isn't the end of opportunity. It's the beginning of a new one. A chance for a new generation of investors to prove that wisdom still wins in an emotional world. Buffett's message is timeless. Time is the friend of the wonderful business, the enemy of the mediocre. If you can identify a wonderful business and give it time, 2026 could be your greatest turning point. So what should you do right now? Buffett would tell you to start with knowledge. Learn about the companies you invest in. Read their annual reports. Understand how they make money. He'd tell you to keep your emotions in check. Don't let social media or panic headlines dictate your financial destiny. And most importantly, he'd tell you to play the long game. You don't have to be Warren Buffett to build wealth like him. You just have to think like him with patience, logic, and conviction. As Buffett says, the difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything. Say no to noise, say no to hype, say no to fear. Say yes to discipline, wisdom, and a future built on value. 2026 will shock investors, not because the world is ending, but because Buffett's way will rise again. In every generation, there comes a defining moment, a time when patience is tested, markets shake, and fear fills the air. That's when legends are made. Buffett's bold prediction for 2026 isn't about fear. It's an invitation to think, to wait, to prepare, and to rise. Because when the dust settles and value returns, those who followed his timeless truth will stand where Buffett has always stood, calm, confident, and ready for the reign of opportunity that others never saw coming. So when 2026 arrives, don't be afraid. Be ready, because your Buffett moment is coming. If this inspired you, don't just watch, act. Start learning about the companies that build real value. Stay patient, stay disciplined. And when the world panics, remember Warren Buffett's quiet wisdom. The best chance to deploy capital is when things are going down. The countdown to 2026 has already begun. The question is, will you be ready when it's your turn to act? This video is for educational and informational purposes only. It does not constitute financial advice. Please consult a licensed financial advisor before making investment decisions. Don't forget to comment below, share with friends, and subscribe for more insights from the world's greatest investors.